All right, let's do this thing. Oh, I regret saying that.
Hello, and welcome to episode 27 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I am your host, Caitlin Argyros, Leanne Cazzaro on the boards, and I am joined, as always, by my perpetual co-host, Mike Salbato.
Hi, I'm Mike. Mike on the boards.
Mike the Battle Maiden.
Mike the Battle Maiden, yes.
Oh, yes, and I am Caitlin Japanese painting dog. That's very important. Remember that name.
Very elegant nickname. And I am Stephanie Sybydlo. I am Dice on the boards, and I am part of the social media team.
And an awesome Canadian.
Yes. You can make your beaver jokes if you want. I've heard them all.
What about a maple beaver?
Maple beaver.
Oh, there's the nickname that we needed for you.
The maple kind.
Yeah.
Stephanie the maple kind Sybydlo. We're good to go.
So now that we've introduced the crew, you might have noticed that we are missing our intrepid leaders, Stephen, Taylor on the boards, and Myrink. Depending on whether or not you listen to Random Encounter, and if you don't, you should, just putting that shameless plug in there. You might have heard that our beloved Stephen is leaving the site. He has realized one of his lifelong goals of doing localization work for video games, and had to leave us as a result. We are very sorry to see him go, but also very happy for him because, hey, I mean, come on. That's probably something that every one of us has dreamed about at some point, is working on video games. And if you're a fan of Japanese language, localizing video games. So hats off to Stephen. We wish you the best. Rhythm Encounter is going to continue on in your absence, and Mike and I are going to do our best to make the show as awesome as possible for you. We're going to keep having 3 hosts on the show. The way we're going to do this is we're not going to have a permanent third co-host, but rather a sort of a revolving door. No, that's not the right way to say it. A random selection of co-hosts from our editors on the site. Basically, anyone who's interested in being on the show, on staff, could join us on any episode, bringing their unique views of music and their picks. We expect to have a lot of fun with this.
I started this podcast, and I feel like I've already been kicked out.
No. Revolving door was the wrong word to use. I'm sorry. I meant it in the sense that we'll have people coming and going. It's not going to be the same person every episode. Whoever basically has expressed interest for a theme, we'll pick and we'll bring them on. So you will probably hear new people. You won't see them. We haven't gotten that far yet. Some familiar voices, depending on, if you've listened to past episodes, and maybe some new voices, but it should be fun because we'll have a lot of different perspectives as we go through. The show format itself hasn't changed. We're going to try and trim it a little bit for you, and we might be making a few other changes here and there, but we are still the same old Rhythm Encounter. We still love RPG music, and we still love talking and gabbing about RPG music with everyone.
That's okay.
So let's start the talking and gabbing with a selection of recent tracks. So I can stop rambling. That would also be good. So for our recent selections to this episode, we have Forest of Elrit from Odin Sphere. I'm not going to pronounce the rest of that title. Basically, it's the Vita port. Odin Sphere, la la la.
Leaf thrower.
There you go.
I like that. And then we'll have Into the Woods from I Am Setsuna. And finally, save the best for last, in my opinion, the arrangement of Anti-Pyretic from Dissidia Final Fantasy, the arcade version. Odin Sphere is a super pretty game that I somehow have not played. But talking with Stephanie over the break, I feel I have to rectify that because they are apparently super cute bunnies that talk really sweetly and carry big swords. So might kind of have to fix that.
It's all about a curse, you see. You're a bunny rabbit cursed with being adorable. And they're trying to fix it, but in the meanwhile, you got yourself running around as Cornelius, who's super cute.
Wait, he wants to fix being adorable? Why would you want to fix being adorable?
I don't even want to. I just want to save the spoiler for what happens later on with these bunny rabbits.
Oh no! I hope it's good things.
It's all good. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, the track itself is kind of interesting to me because I feel like it covers a couple of like the different gamuts of forest themes. You've got sort of like the lilting, beautiful, bright sort of forest sound, but then you've also have a section that's a bit more mysterious to it. Some deeper sounds, some sort of woodwind. I'm not quite sure which. And then you have like a super playful section where it's moving around a little bit. It's kind of an interesting sort of sample platter of various different kind of forest sounds.
Mm-hmm. I definitely like that the Odin Sphere soundtrack is kind of a nice mix of, I guess, kind of Japanese music mix, something like Lord of the Rings. But yeah, you're going to hear probably that bit about, the nice mysterious sound, very soothing forest piece. I chose a lot of my tracks this time based on the fact that they don't sound as mysterious, but I do like this piece for, kind of hitting that nice foresty, mysterious storybook sound.
Oh, storybook is good. Yeah, I was listening to it and it makes me think of a Disney movie. Not like a particular one, but I picture like a Disney forest or something.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, like that kind of sun shining in on the trees, something out of Tangled almost.
Yeah, Tangled would be good, yeah.
Tangled!
Like that.
Oh, I love Tangled. Don't get me started talking about how awesome Tangled is.
We're gonna have to do the Tangled Frozen debate another time.
Oh no, let's not do that.
No, yeah, Mike and I will be fighting over it for forever.
Yeah.
So, let's move on then to Into the Woods from I Am Setsuna, which I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that it was all piano because I've heard from friends playing it that the soundtrack is very piano heavy, but it was still kind of interesting. I'm assuming that there's snow in these woods because there's a lot of snow in Setsuna. And actually thinking about it, the piano kind of works a little way. The starkness of just having piano kind of can match a snow-bound setting.
Yeah, the whole choice of like a largely solo piano soundtrack is a nice one because I think it very nicely emulates that kind of silent, wintry snowfall sound. The soundtrack, a lot of it seems to almost mimic that feeling of falling snow and kind of creates a flurry of quiet notes to add a bit of a rhythm to it. Like da-na-na-na-na-na. Yeah, just kind of nice.
I love you. Can I just say that was a beautiful way to describe that track?
It was.
But it still had a bit of character to it, It kind of had that bit of that rougher, you're kind of treading unknown territory. So it was a nice balance between the kind of nice rhythmic snowfall and the kind of, adventurous into the woods feeling.
I think, I don't know for sure, but talking to people that have played it, I think isn't the entire soundtrack piano?
Mostly. Every so often it will kind of go, quote unquote, out of character and introduce kind of other instruments if the mood strikes. Boss battles, for instance, will still have, a few more rhythmic or strings to it. So I think it was actually pretty cool. Really nice for a kind of low concept game that I Am Setsuna kind of is, kind of a low key, smaller RPG. Yeah, I think it works really well. It's a very beautiful soundtrack. It kind of suits that, very nice quiet sound of winter where you just don't hear anything on the streets.
Yeah, I think it fits really well.
Yeah,
From what little I've seen of the game.
I think to shake things up, instead of a solo piano album, because the album is already that, they should get a full orchestration album.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Or like a chamber orchestra or...
or have the
switch
black mages cover it.
Oh wow! Rock album was on the tip of my tongue, but I wasn't sure if I should say it.
Or the all percussion version.
Oh, that could be super cool. Yeah, I like that idea. Because piano is technically a percussion instrument, so.
Yeah, so there we go. We can get something really going for them.
Yeah.
Ideas for future soundtracks. We also discussed that on this show.
Feel free to, any sort of royalties you want to send our way for giving you these awesome ideas. If you happen to be a composer and you're listening, it's fine. We have awesome ideas occasionally. And we also have awesome arrangements of Final Fantasy music. So, my God. Some may disagree with me, but I really think that Antipyrenic is the best piece on the Dissidia arcade soundtrack. There's some really good arrangements, but this is my favorite. This and there's another arrangement of Trisection as well that are both more of orchestral instead of rock, which really appreciate. Not that it wouldn't have been awesome to have this in a rock format, but somehow keeping it orchestral, a little bit closer to the original material, but still reworking it was a really great kind of blend of, having the original and staying true to the original, but also making it feel fresh and new. The increased tempo here, it's much faster than the original, is great, will work perfectly for the sort of hectic battles that you have in the Dissidia games. And I love how the melody the rhythm of the melody changes a little bit because of that tempo. They don't try to keep the melody the same while having the beat up. They move the piano along a little bit. And it's really interesting how it's still the same melody, but it has a different sound to it because of the place where the notes are coming in.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely like it too. I love the Final Fantasy Tactics soundtrack, but every so often it got really, really synthy. You could tell the whole thing was done on a single keyboard. So I really like this as a nice way to kind of, bring it a bit more back to life with a bit more of a variety of instruments instead. It definitely had a bit more pop going to it, and, kind of like unlike a few of the Dissidia tracks, it's not nearly as rock-focused or something as heavy, but honors the original song.
Well, I like that there's a really strong piano. I actually noticed there's a lot of piano in the stuff we have today.
Yeah.
But I didn't really expect that for the soundtrack or an arrangement for a fighting game, so I thought that was pretty cool. How jealous would you be, Caitlin, if I reminded you that I did play this game with this song?
Oh, right, because you were in Japan.
I was.
Well, how well could you hear it, though? Because you would have been playing it in an arcade, right?
Well, they have headsets, but to be fair...
Do they really?
They do.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Not just on this game, but there was a few games, especially at the... I think some of the rhythm games had it. But this one definitely did. They're permanently attached to the machine, just hanging there.
God, I feel like that kind of shows you a kind of cool difference between, our arcades and Japanese ones.
Yeah.
You don't really go to a Vegas casino and say, hey, do you want to put headphones on for the slot machines?
I do.
See, we gotta meet these requests. But no, that's really cool. I did not know that Japanese arcades had headsets.
Yeah, I would have taken more pictures of the machine, but technically you weren't allowed to take pictures in the arcade, so I definitely did not take any pictures. Yeah, it's a cool game, and it needs to come out here, please.
Yeah, it looks so beautiful. Oh my god.
I agree. I didn't play the second Dissidia game, but this one has Ramza in it, so I will play it.
He is literally the prettiest person in that cast.
Oh, yeah.
Flawless skin, gorgeous, beautiful eyes and eyelashes.
Let's be fair, he was the prettiest person in his game, so...
He had quite the hourglass figure, if I do say so myself.
Yes, and...
I thought it was a chick.
Perfectly formed butt cheeks. You cannot tell me that the armor was just shaped like that for no reason. It's because he... Yeah.
He got butt, He had bumps to go with that shake. As my dad likes to say.
I can't imagine. Now I'm imagining your dad playing Tactics.
Look at those buttons.
Or my dad playing Tactics. Oh my god.
The sight of any of our dads playing video games, I'm sure, would be hilarious.
Yes.
This got really weird all of a sudden.
I'm sorry.
Funny that happens when Stephanie's on the show.
Hey, we're all weird.
It's
and weird,
the nerves, man.
Weird is good.
The nerves counteracting with the alcohol that I've drank, and just nothing's feeling right.
Well, and then let's
First block?
First block, yes.
First block.
Okay, so the show is kind of, I think it's fair to say it's my baby. Way back when I was a guest on the show, I was asked to come up with a bunch of different possible theme ideas, and forest themes was one of them. And we didn't do that for my guest episode. We kind of kept it in the backlog. We were even planning to do it at one point when Steven was still in St. Louis. When we were all going to be in St. Louis, I think at one point was the original plan was to do it when we were all here, and we just kept postponing and postponing and postponing. I kept nudging Mike we're going to do that forest episode sometime, right? So we are finally doing it, and I'm super happy that we're finally doing it because forests
There's a lot of good forest tracks in the world,
Yeah, forests are really awesome. And my first pick for our first block is actually pretty much the inspiration for this theme, which I will explain after we listen to it. So my first pick is Extensive Forest Green from E7. And then, Mike, you have our next pick.
Yeah, my last minute pick when I realized my first one wasn't really foresty enough.
I have notes for your song. I'm just gonna read the old notes I had. God damn it.
It's probably fine. It'll be close enough.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Yeah, so I picked Totems of the Grizzle Maw from World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King. And then
Wrath of Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. And then Stephanie has our third one. A game we've actually never had on the show, I think.
Yes, yeah. So I'm happy to introduce something a little different. Rain in the Dried Up Valley from Atelier Aisha. Oh, god damn it, that was awful. Atelier Aisha.
It's hard.
Bit of a tongue twister for me.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
My Canadian tongue, it just can't pick up these words that fast. French and English.
It depends too on which game you listen to the localization for, because I'm playing Shally and they pronounce it Atelier.
Really?
Which I don't think is right, but that's how they pronounce it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna pronounce it Atelier, but okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so let's listen to Extensive Forest Green from E7, Totems of the Grizzle Maw from World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King, and Rain in the Dried Up Valley from Atelier Aisha. So E7 was my first Ys game, and also I pretty sure my first introduction to Falcom music, or maybe it might have been this show, might have been something Derek picked way back when, but my first real introduction to Falcom music. And I remember playing through this area in the game. It's relatively early on in the game. It's a small little foresty area that you run through, and it's nothing super different about that forest. It looks like, your typical RPG fantasy, green forest, bright, sunny, that kind of stuff. But the song was just so different from anything I was expecting for a forest theme. And of course, it's not that, different for Falcom music. It's pretty par for the course. But I remember thinking, listening to this track, this is a pretty cool and different forest theme. And then I started thinking, well, hey, there are actually lots of different and cool forest themes. There's lots of different kinds of forests in RPGs. There's the bright, sunny, happy forest. There are the magical, mystical forest. There are the dark and foreboding forest. And music often, alongside the visuals, will sort of represent those different kinds of themes in forests. So it's like, why not have an episode about all the different kinds of forest themes there are? And of course I had to lead with this one just because I love it so very, very much. It's got so much energy and movement to it. I cannot help but not dance, because I'm not standing up, but dance in my seat a little bit, I guess, when I listen to it, just because it has a really nice beat to it. And it's fun. I really wish that the area was maybe a little bit bigger, or that you needed to come back to it at some point. You really don't, and it's just, it's done. But I really love this piece a lot, and it probably helped cement my love of Falcom music and this style of Falcom music. I'm a huge fan now of the E style of music, so yeah.
Yeah, the Falcom music really seems to be in a bit of a stratosphere of its own. A lot of people who know it love it. Same with Ys. I mean, a lot of people love the battle themes in there, and I can't blame them. One thing I noticed about Extensive Forest Green is I definitely like the title. But like you said, there's a lot of good energy in the tune. It feels very fast and, a very spirited tune, like you are indeed, running through the forest. There's a bit of the synthy element to it, and I just think it's a nice, catchy tune. Perfect for Ys, and perfect for the setting. You wouldn't really expect Ys to downplay, a forest theme. They keep it exciting.
Gotta have a lot of energy so you can hack and slash your way through. I forget what enemies are in there, but they're probably foresty creatures and spiders, and yeah.
Most likely. Yeah, I like the drum line in the song a lot, actually. I think a lot of, you said that not everyone really likes Falcom, and we're definitely not talking about anyone that's been on this show before.
I was gonna guess it was Curry.
Probably, no. Well, I think sometimes when you hear flack about Falcom, usually it's because it's like some of the louder, they have a lot of rock stuff that's a little bit in your face. But I like this one because it's really upbeat, but it's not. I don't know where I was going with any of that. I like the drums.
It's not. It's upbeat, but it's still. It's not as much of a rocky
drums
rock song, I guess. It's got. I keep saying it's happy because it is. It's very happy, despite having that sort of upbeat, fast pace to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's upbeat, but it's not trying to melt your face off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It strays away from that kind of mysterious storybook forest kind of thing, goes for its own kind of spirited forest theme.
Yeah. E7 leaves the face melting to vacant interference, which still probably the best boss theme in the E series. I'm kind of sad that it's already been played at some point because I would love to talk about it and how awesome is it. But that's another story for another time. So
we'll do a greatest hits episode, kind of revisit the ones that we love a lot.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. Speaking of good ideas, sorry, that was a lost cause of a transition, but Totems of the Grizzlemaw, I have to say, it's not the first time I've heard this been done, but I really liked having this in this track is hearing the background noise. I don't know if it sounds like they might have actually recorded outside at some point. You can hear the air and the wind, and you can hear some birds chirping, and later on there's like a babbling brook. And that was a really cool way to sort of ground the track in not necessarily a specific real world location, but just making it sound like, hey, this is actually the real world at some point.
Yeah, no, I actually really agreed. That was I really did like the soundtrack actually having a soundscape to it. Kind of helps you get the illustration in your mind going a bit right away. I find a lot of JRPG music to be incredibly melodic. It's probably why you get so many arrange albums or actually vocal albums going with them. But a lot of Western RPG music I find goes for more straightforward, and atmospheric kind of composition. So I felt like I was more in charge of what I could see and feel with this song than just kind of strictly for, a sort of feeling they were going for. I don't know, I just thought it was a pretty kick-ass theme.
Yeah, it's very peaceful, and you're right, it's more atmospheric than melodic, and that I think works in its favor. Mm-hmm. Because you don't always have to have like a super strong, hummable melody. Sometimes it's more about setting the stage, and I feel like the simple melody plus the sort of real world sounds in the background would really help create that atmosphere. I can almost picture it having no experience whatsoever with World of Warcraft.
Well, good, then I guess it does its job.
What did you think? You're the one who picked it.
This is actually, even though I haven't played the most recent expansion, but this is still my favorite expansion of the game. Just the whole setting is really neat, and there's a big Celtic influence in the music of that whole continent. Yeah. So there's a few songs that have that, and I was looking it up in preparing for this, and I know there's some kind of bagpipe there, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly kind of instruments they used. And some people I was reading online posted some theories, and there's one that's called an Uilleann or something. It's an Irish bagpipe, which I don't know if there's how many kinds of bagpipes there are, but the theory is that's the bagpipe that's used here, and it's used in the soundtrack a lot.
Wow, I didn't
learn that today. Yeah.
Yep. Well,
things you learn from Rhythm Encounter, people.
Yeah.
There's more than one type of bagpipe.
Yeah, an Irish bagpipe, no less. And the other one, again, it's kind of theoretical, but I looked up some videos of those instruments, and it seems like they're right on. So you have the uilleann and the nyckelharpa, which is a bizarre, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a violin, but then it has keys on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we might have to put the spelling of that in the show notes so people can see the weirdness of these things, but...
Post a picture of that for the page as well. This is the thing we referenced in the show, by the way.
Yeah. So.
All right, and, finishing up, I chose Rain in the Dried Up Valley. Sorry, were you done?
I think he's done now.
I guess I'm done. Let's talk about Aisha.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I feel like a butt. Did you have anything to say, Michael?
I was going to talk about the ambient sound and the stream and stuff like that, but then Caitlin stole it from me. So no, we're good.
No.
I really like the bagpipes. I would never normally sit down and be like, boy, I need some more bagpipe in my life. But I like the way these ones sound. Like this song in particular, it's almost, because there's kind of like three parts of the song, but it's either the first or second segment where the bagpipes are really prominent. It kind of has this sense of, kind of like a sense of longing, but it's not really sad. I'm not really sure how to articulate that, but
it's such a unique instrument anytime it's used. I know it's one of those instruments you either love it or hate it. I definitely love it. It's very loud, but I love it. I even loved it in Realms theme from Final Fantasy VI.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm good. Let's talk about your song.
Yeah, sorry. So I chose Rain in the Dried Up Valley from Atelier Aisha. I should usually adore the Atelier OSTs. It usually hits all my buttons for soft and fun tunes, but the music is still oddly, a hit or miss with me. Usually just because I find them a bit more overly saccharine. Sometimes it's just a bit too sweet for me, but Rain in the Dried Up Valley kind of hits a nice sweet spot in between, so it's sweet without being too sweet. Rain in the Dried Up Valley is one of those songs to me that gets better the longer it goes on and has a really fantastic and exciting build-up to the kind of 1 minute mark in. The piano and the pan flute really play nicely against each other, and the strings that you hear a little further on kind of help smooth out some of the more wild and outdoorsy sounds in the song. It makes you feel like you're actually going out on some daring escapade, and whereas a lot of forest themes seem to go for the kind of calming and mysterious feeling, this one seems to do quite the opposite and paint a big sense of adventure. And I can only picture Bilbo Baggins kind of running out, going, "I'm going on an adventure!"
Oh, wow. Now, just imagine if they made a Hobbit RPG.
Yeah. Picturing all those dwarves with big anime eyes, and it's creeping me out.
But yeah, actually, one of the things I wrote was, I hope this is a happy forest, because it certainly sounds like a happy.
It's a dried up forest.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, hopefully it's, I don't know. Can't be happy about that, but maybe something is happy about
There's
that.
still lots of greenery, don't worry.
But I was wondering what kind of a forest it was, because sort of like Extensive Forest Green, it sounds really different, like you said, from what you might expect for a forest theme for any kind of, more sedate or slow-paced forest themes. And there's some interesting instrumentation choices too. Are there bells or some sort of synth-like bell?
Don't know what that is. Yeah, that it kind of clangs a bit in the middle of the song.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's so interesting.
Yeah.
I like the flute a lot. I think that's maybe kind of a trademark of Gust soundtracks, but you said it's a pan flute?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about flute, so I know it's a little more
I definitely know there's more than one type of flute. So
yeah.
Bagpipe.
We'll see. We both learned. I learned about flutes, and you learned about bagpipes.
But yeah, you were really happy that I picked this song, so I was just kind of what your thoughts were about it.
Well, I like anything from Gust. Every time someone brings one on here, But I liked it because, like you said, a lot of the music in that series is really upbeat and more happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this one, I like I don't remember where in the game it plays exactly, but it does have it kind of has a sense of urgency to it. It's not so hey, let's go through for a relaxing stroll. So,
which will bring me to my dishonorable mention later.
Oh, bum bum bum.
Oh boy.
But yeah, definitely. Gust has a really good sound to it, and I definitely like the kind of sweet sounds. I have to be in the mood to listen to sad songs, so I kind of like Gust for usually keeping things upbeat.
They're a mood lifter, I guess we would call them, right?
Yeah, it's like eating. I don't like eating when I'm sad. It makes the food taste less good.
Oh.
I like happy songs, so I can feel happy.
Well, speaking of happy songs, I'm pretty certain, Mike, your first pick in the next block is a happy sounding song, right?
Yay!
It is. It's a happy and relaxing song. So I really do like the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Crystal Bearers soundtrack. And I think I'm one of 4 people on Earth that like the game too, but that's okay. So I picked
I thought it was really cool.
It's so bizarre. I think most people don't like it because it's just so off the wall sometimes. But
if they reworked a few things, it would have been a much better game. But I still liked it for the weird ass experiment it was.
All right, cool. So that's 2 of us. Anyway, so I picked the Moogle Woods from Crystal Bearers, and then Stephanie.
And then I picked the Venerable Forest from Star Ocean 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that track.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
What?
I don't know how to pronounce yours.
Oh, do they ever pronounce it in the game? I don't know. I always thought it was a root. Or is it a root or a ruit?
Erut.
Anyway, I picked Argyros Village. This is from the Ethereal String Project arrangement, the awesome string arrange album from Josh Barron. It's super, super pretty. My favorite track on the album, actually. So without further ado, let's take a listen to Moogle Woods from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, The Crystal Bearers, The Venerable Forest from Star Ocean 2, and Argyros Village from the Ethereal String Project.
All right, so perhaps I was mistaken that everyone hates this game because there's at least 2 people on the show that like the game. So,
And I haven't played it, so you can't count me as someone who doesn't like it. I may very well like it if I ever played it. I just don't want.
Here's what it comes down to. Because I actually reviewed the game, and the last thing I mentioned in the review is if the idea of picking up cows who shoot milk lasers from their udders sounds entertaining to you, then you should play the game.
Wait, I'm pretty sure I played this game. Is it at all related to Earthworm Jim?
No.
I never knew there was more than one game with shiny laser udders.
I didn't either.
All right. Well, you know what? Both are excellent game. Clearly, if you need a good game on hand, you need a laser udder shooting cow. I think Diablo might have hit that territory, but not the lasers. Anyways, okay, so Moogly Oogly Forest, right?
Moogly Forest or Moogle Woods or whatever it's called.
It's called
This is
something.
a good game, but whatever the song is called.
Yeah. I tried to find an image before the show because I was going to just use it to show you guys. I'm like, hey, here's what the forest looks like, but there's not a lot of good images for this game.
It will hereafter be called whatever the Koopo it's called.
Aw.
Sure.
Or whatever the Koopo it's called. I don't know.
That was cute.
I try.
So what did you think of it, Mike? Why did you pick the Moogle Forest?
I like that we had a good mix of upbeat and more relaxing. If you notice, this whole block was kind of the more relaxing songs we picked, but I like the really kind of laid back vibe of this one. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're wandering around trees talking to Moogles, so it's got a good vibe to it. That's all.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wrote too. It's laid back, relaxed. You answered my question that there are Moogles in the Moogle Woods, so yeah. That would
Every
be
so
weird.
often you need that though. I love just a nice, relaxing, soundtrack tune. Not all of them. I don't always get as excited for the big battle themes. I know they're always the ones you usually tout for games, but I do love a really nice, chill soundtrack. I think that's why I kind of signed up for this podcast as well, was, because I really do like the sort of sounds of the forest.
The sounds of the forest.
But I won't lie, this wasn't really what I expected with something with Moogle in the title. I'm definitely used to always hearing a Moogle theme accompany a Moogle song. God damn it, my notes, they also, whenever I typed in Moogle, it types in Google, so I screw up. It auto-corrected. Anyway, so the Google Forest is basically a better version of my dishonorable mention song. I love that it's a nice consistent tune actually, and it carries the melody better. The Crystal Bears soundtrack was generally very interesting, and I like how they experimented a lot in the soundtrack. Some of the songs were obvious throwaways, but there were still a lot of really good tunes. I feel this is the only chance I'll ever get to mention how awesome the main theme, the title screen theme, is for Crystal Bears. Easily a top 10, even though it's a spin-off Final Fantasy title. But I also like that it was a Moogle theme with no Moogle theme. I'd love to hear a non-Chocobo theme.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because usually you're just kind of used to the basic notes. I'm just curious what an alternative, alternative theme would sound like. I think we all kind of our minds kind of blew up a bit when Final Fantasy 13 had a non-standard victory theme.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this nonsense? Cheer.
But it was good.
It was good, yes.
You'll be happy if you go back before you were on the show, but if you listen to, looks like episode 14 of the show, we had the title song on there.
Which one?
For Crystal Bears, sorry.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because
yes.
I'm kind of obsessed with that song. I talked about it.
Gorgeous.
I think I picked that one, but whoever picked it. But back when that game, before it came out, they had a teaser website up, and that was the song that was on the website. But there was no soundtrack yet, so I actually would just leave the website up all night while I was doing other stuff. So yeah, great song.
Aww.
I always get giddy whenever you hear that song in game that you heard on the teaser website. It's like, oh hey, it's this friggin' song.
Mm-hmm.
A song that you've been wondering, where does it play? What's the context?
I love that. I love that with game reveal stuff too. You know, when you finally see what a new cast of characters looks like, or you know what songs and sites and all that stuff. I always think it's really exciting. So, I don't know where we're going with all this, but hey, it was a good sidebar.
Well, then let's move on to your pick, Stephanie.
Yay!
And I think you have the honor of picking our first Star Ocean pick or track on the podcast. So thank you. I know we've had some listeners who have been wondering why we don't have more stuff by Sakuraba on the podcast, and I agree. We will have more stuff by Sakuraba if I have anything to say about it.
I was gonna say, yeah, with you and I here, we'll make sure there's at least one per,
yes.
per episode, even if it annoys people.
Oh yeah, but we're already talking about another episode where I'm gonna Sakuraba the heck out of it. So yeah,
we're gonna Saka some Sakuraba.
Yes.
There you go. Okay, yeah, so I picked the Venerable Forest. I'm a huge Star Ocean 2 fan, and it's probably the one game I can claim to have beaten, broke, and beaten again, and literally know about every nook and cranny. So after so many runs with it, you know, a song as big as the Venerable Forest starts to really kind of become, you know, hand in hand to the game to me, and kind of give me a nostalgic feeling. So this is a song that just sounds important. It doesn't necessarily sound sad, but it doesn't necessarily sound happy either, and it just kind of works for the setting where both of the main characters kind of have some growing up to do, so it's just kind of a, you know, what do you call it? Limbo of a song, I guess, to me. So both the characters are kind of going through big emotional hurdles, and I kind of like how this is where they meet up, and it's kind of a big spot to the both of them for that reason, you know, the whole start of their adventure. The theme is reused later on for Rena's own theme song, and another version of it is used again for a big epiphany moment in a similar looking forest on another planet. A lot of Sakuraba's PlayStation era stuff really struck a cool balance to me, since a lot of the sounds were still pretty classical, you know, as per his style, but a lot of the instruments were very synthy and electronic. So for a concept like Star Ocean, where the plot tends to have that mix of sci-fi and fantasy, I find the weird kind of sound in this song really works well, and for the soundtrack as well, where it sounds just a little mysterious and, you know, both classical and not so classical, and, you know, works really well with Rena and Claude, where Rena feels the most comfortable in the forest and Claude feels sort of out of touch with it, since he's more in a sci-fi universe. And, you know, that didn't really afford him the same kind of green scenery.
You said pretty much almost everything that I wanted to say about this track. I have the same reaction. Like, this is, when I think about Star Ocean 2, this is the track I think about, like, just my default Star Ocean 2 track, because it was so iconic to have this. I always play as Rena because I like playing as girls, and because you have to play as Rena if you want Diaz, and Diaz is the most kick-ass character in the game. So this has always been my introduction pretty much to the game when I played through it. And I don't know if it's because it was one of my earlier RPGs or if it was just the earlier sort of PlayStation era, but that's always stuck with me as that sort of the representative track for the game and for Star Ocean as a whole, really. And it's really cool, I think, that they combined the forest and Rena's theme. She's in the forest. We get the sense that this is like her special place that she goes to when she needs to, you know, escape whatever's happening in her life, and she comes here and she has solace here. And I thought that was a really neat way to have the theme sort of reflect that it's kind of her forest, because it has her theme in the music when it plays. And it's just a really, I don't even know how to describe the
Such a weird sound, right?
Yeah, that bum 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 bum. In the background was, I love that. That just sort of instantly gives it kind of a magical sort of lilting feel to it. And
a lot of the stuff from Expel on the Star Ocean soundtrack kind of had that feeling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, a world kind of on the brink of, you know, just kind of teetering on the edge.
Living on the edge.
Made it sound too hip.
No, hip is good. Hip is fine.
I actually always pick Claude because his sequence at the arms tournament was just a little bit shorter. You didn't have to get the sword for Diaz.
But then you have to deal with Leon.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I could never... I like him, but I already had a super awesome spellcaster, Celine, and I was just like, I don't know. He's cute, but Diaz is hot. Diaz is super hot, so yeah. Sorry, I am... Sometimes I am driven by my attraction to hot guys. Like, I really still don't like how Velvet in Tales of Berseria looks, but once they introduced Aizen and Rokuro, I love both of them, and suddenly now I'm on board with the game. So I will admit that maybe I can occasionally be bought by hot guys.
Yeah, so you can be shallow just like the rest of us. At times.
At times.
The difference is none of them have like their bodies spilling out of their outfits.
True.
Yes.
But no, I'm looking forward to how Aizen kind of fit into the whole equation. So, yeah, sorry, tangents. Mike, what did you think?
I think you guys are making me want to replay Star Ocean 2. Because I never finished it.
Then we have achieved our goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, how far did you get, if I may ask?
Oh boy, I don't remember. I think I've talked about it on the show before, but I died in like the stupidest way, and I got so frustrated I never went back to the game.
Oh.
There's an ugly string of unbeatable bosses that absolutely suck the spirit from you.
Oh no, it wasn't a boss. I was fine with the bosses. I got past some bosses, and then I was wandering through a forest, actually, come to think of it. And I think it was a bunch of rabbits or something like that. But there's these enemies that can petrify you. And then before I knew it, within like 30 seconds, they petrified my entire team, and it was game over.
Oh.
I had that for Persona 4, the Kanji dungeon, I think. It's like there's an enemy that does an instant kill thing.
I hate that.
And then it just kind of linked to all three of them doing it and just killing my party right off the bat. I was so annoyed. Because it happened 4 times.
I don't like that. That's one thing I don't like about the elemental system in the Persona games is the light and dark attacks. They can be really awesome when you're the one using them, but when the game is over, if the main character dies and it hits the main character, you're like, really? Well, I was gonna say, Mike, you might have your chance to finally beat that game if we ever get. Weren't they bringing that over, or bringing it over? But they ported it.
PSN.
Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna get it, but
I think they did in Japan. Yeah. I don't know.
They did in Japan, yeah.
It wasn't so bad dying that way. You know, it was really my own fault because when I died, I realized that I hadn't saved the game in like 4 hours. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Like all of us RPG fans have felt that at one point or another.
Yeah.
And you just kind of sit there, like sitting with your, like kind of slumped on the couch, looking sad for yourself for about a minute.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and then you're just like, do I do it again or do I just quit for the night?
Yeah, one day I'm going to play a Star Ocean game where I don't quit halfway through, but we'll see.
We will be here to encourage you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I hope I'll be gabbing about Star Ocean 5. It's hard to imagine it being worse than Star Ocean 4. And now that I say that, please don't be worse than Star Ocean 4, please.
I don't think it is. Judging by the import impressions, it seems to be. It's short, but it's still pretty good. So
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what else is good? Final Fantasy 12, because
yes.
I love that game so much. I think I neglected to mention before the break. So my pick, Aerut Village, is from Final Fantasy 12. It's the arrangement of the forest village where all the Vera, at least I think all the Vera live, where Fran is from. And it's really the only part in the game where we get any background story about Fran and her family. And that was actually a really interesting thing to have, despite the fact that it was technically kind of a detour for the direction you had to detour there, and then you had to detour again to save her sister. But that was a really neat way to sort of give us a little backstory of Fran and Vera culture, and you learn more about why she left that beautiful place. And it is a super gorgeous little chunk of the woods. It's not the first time that we've seen a wooded village or a tree top village, but it was really pretty how it was laid out. And the music was also, it had this sort of mystical feel to it. And this arrangement is, oh my God, so beautiful. It's hands down my favorite piece on a very amazing album. And it's really hard for me to pick a place to start talking about it, but the piano portion in the beginning and where it's playing through the actual theme of the village is really pretty. It was a nice sort of replacement for what I think was a harp in the original. Really helps sort of set the feel of the place, and it does give it sort of a, secluded woodland vibe to it. The strings, of course, being the focus of this entire album, are at their best, really, I think, on this track. And there's a middle portion that, as far as I can tell, is original. I don't really remember it being in the original version, that is amazingly beautiful and has a gorgeous string section and then an amazing piano transition back into the main theme. It just, this was the track that made the album for me. So, and I originally wanted to feature it on Music of the Year because this is one of those tracks for me. But then I was like, well, whenever we get around to doing forest themes, this would be perfect. So I'm glad that I held off and was able to feature it here.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I totally got the same thing. Eru, oh God. I looked up the what is it? The Japanese.
The kana.
Pronunciation, yeah, so it's just Eruto, and I was like, oh crap, that doesn't help at all. So this particular village theme, to me, it's a song that just sounds so pretty and mysterious and just a little sad. I've always loved this song because it really pushes around with how I feel when I listen to it. I've never heard this version of it before, so that it was actually really nice to, have my ears be blown away, I guess, or pleasantly surprised by it. Yeah, I gotta check out the entire album, though. It's beautiful.
Yes. It's a lot of awesome stuff on that album.
And also, let's just be serious, treetop villages are the best villages.
Aren't they?
Always.
There's just something so fun about getting to explore. I mean, I don't know. It's not like you couldn't do it in real life if you were really that adamant about it, but it just seems like that's so difficult to pull off. So it belongs in a fantasy world because you can do anything in a fantasy world, and just being able to run around and explore.
Live vicariously through the video game.
Yeah.
Treehouse settings.
I'm not gonna lie, I lost my save file when my hard drive crashed, but when I was playing Minecraft on Xbox, I was building a treetop village.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Inspired by this?
Partly, I guess. Or just, all treetop villages. Not that there are a lot of them, but...
And Mike?
I wrote in my notes that I think I may not be as in love with Final Fantasy XII in general as Caitlin, but I think I feel about the same when it comes to the music. So I think it's really hard to top a lot of the stuff in there, but this is such a great arrangement of this song. And I'll agree with Caitlin, too, that the whole album is definitely worth checking out.
I'm gonna check it out.
I think we have a review up.
Yeah?
I'm not sure.
Did we not? We do.
I know we've talked about it on the show before, but I'm not sure if we actually reviewed the album. But it's a really cool album.
I know you guys like the Final Fantasy Crystal Bear opening theme, because I read the review and somebody listened to it like 500 times or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's probably mine.
Yay! But yeah, no, it's a great pick, and the Final Fantasy XII boss theme is something that always, pumps me the hell up when I'm on my way to work when it comes on.
Yes. Oh yeah, I love that. The
bells.
which one? The first.
Yeah, the da 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 da.
Yes. I love
Tone
that.
deaf.
No. That I got it. That yeah.
Okay.
That's my. I like the other one too. The one that's like plays the main theme of the game in it. But that first one is also my favorite. So.
Something about bells when used in soundtracks really does it for me. I know Sakuraba's done it a few times too. The Star Ocean 3 Victory theme has that bell thing going, and I love it every time.
The bells, man.
Yeah. Carol of the bells.
The bells.
Of video games.
Yes, we did review the Ethereal String project. Marcos reviewed that for us.
Ah, awesome.
So you can check out that review, and we'll have a link in the show notes to where you can buy it, which you should buy it because it's awesome.
Oh, yep, here it is. Woo! I'm gonna read that after. But yeah, no, this has been a really good block so far. I've loved all the tracks that you guys have shared, and I guess we're getting slowly into our final block. Or did I skip somebody's notes again?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so the final block, I get to head up the final block with a song from Skies of Arcadia, or Arcadia, I don't know, whatever. The Kingdom of Ixtaka.
Yeah. I'm next, and it's kind of hard to top that, but I'm gonna try with Yako Mori, which is the Noctilum theme from Xenoblade Chronicles Cross or X. And then
It's Final Fantasy X to me as well.
Yes.
None of this 10 shenanigans or cross. It's always Final Fantasy X.
It's been 6 months, Caitlin, that the game's been out here. You have to embrace the X. I'm sorry.
I will try. I had to remember at the last minute to call it Chronicles because I have it written in the notes as X.
Yeah.
Or just Xenoblade X, so I had to remember, wait, there's a Chronicles in the Western version, isn't there? Right.
Yes.
Can we have DMX's X Gonna Give It To You as like the kind of theme going on in the background right now?
Oh gosh. I don't think we want to flirt with the potential copyright suit, but
Okay.
Oh.
But Mike, what did you pick?
I was gonna do it for her too. So I picked Lost Forest from Legaia Dual Saga.
Yay!
A game I've never played, but I'm very familiar with the composers.
Yes. I think we all are for a
Yes.
soundtrack probably nobody's heard.
Well, at least 2/3 of them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, then for our final block, we'll listen to Kingdom of Ixtaka from Skies of Arcadia, Yako Mori from Xenoblade X,
Gonna give it to you.
and Lost Forest from Legaia Dual Saga.
And welcome back. So I had the first song in this block, and it is the Kingdom of Ixtaka theme. Pretty popular, I think, even for a soundtrack that's pretty popular in general. Needless to say, Skies of Arcadia is a fantastic game. Big sense of adventure, going out, seeing the world, all of its wonders and discoveries, and surprisingly not so unique cultures. The countries are pretty unimaginative, so, the Red Moon country, for example, red equals fire, fire equals hot. Where is it hot? Oh, in the desert kingdom of Nasser, and its pretty obvious Ottoman influence. So when it came to the country of Ixtaka, you see it's a forested area, and that there would be drums, maybe some chants, and for the first few seconds, when you hit up the town, or the actual kingdom, the village screen, it starts out exactly like that right at the beginning. It's not really a bad thing, but I just felt like I wouldn't be surprised, and to some extent I was kind of right. But then all of a sudden, about a few seconds in, the flute finally starts to play a really catchy melody. It keeps a tune and a rhythm that's just a lot of fun to listen to. It even starts to dip into acoustic guitar, and it takes more of a sort of South American influence from then on. And then the vocals in the back sound more like they're part of a celebration, which is kind of nice, where it's not just the usual kind of, epic Latin vocals or whatever else. Of all the nations that you visit, I feel like the Mayan vibe, or the ancient civilization vibe from Ixtaka, really stands out the most, just for being catchy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I think it's one of the tracks in the game that I always think of when I think of the game. I mean, the entire soundtrack is brilliant, but there's just something special about this track, and part of it is I always got a live performance vibe from this.
Yeah.
The drums and the vocals kind of make it sound more like it was, performed live, and that was a really cool thing to have, especially, back in the olden days of ye old Dreamcast. We weren't necessarily expecting to hear anything remotely resembling actual live instruments, and not that this is necessarily super live instruments, but to have that kind of sound was still really cool. And it's just, I love the melody when it comes in. It's just a really cool melody. I love how the latter half of the song, you just have the drums and the chants in the background, and the melody comes in, and then there's accompaniment, and then there's some higher harmony joining in on repeat, and that was a really cool way to wrap up the track.
Yeah, I like, which was the song earlier? We were talking about, like, background music. Oh, the Warcraft song. But I like the drums, and I can't tell if it's just, like, supposed to be vocals or people in the background, or there's also, like, some monkeys. Or maybe it's just in my head. Maybe it's just in my head. I picture monkeys in the background of this track.
The voices in Mike's head are just a bunch of monkeys.
Maybe I should get that looked at, huh? See, there it is again.
It is a jungle.
It's a
kingdom,
jungle, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So no, I really want to replay that game too.
Oh yeah, me too.
I really like the vibe of this song.
There was so much talk of an HD version of the game that never actually happened. It was such a drag.
I want it. Please give it to us, Sega.
One thing I like is that, especially for a game like Skies of Arcadia, where you're mostly just flying around and, you're stuck up in the sky, it's really nice and relaxing to see, just the sight of trees like you do once again. Yeah, it's kind of almost soothing in a way, and kind of fits that whole, forests are kind of soothing place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was just a fun song. I felt like I was kind of more part of a party than some other forest themes that you might hear. And the vocals were, kind of more chanting and kind of, in a good spirit, instead of kind of more sing-song vocals.
Mm-hmm.
I love this game. I don't have my Dreamcast anymore. I know, for shame. So I guess my only option is to get the GameCube version and play it on my Wii, but then I have to get a GameCube controller. I
have an extra one. You can have it.
Oh, thank you.
Just give me the game after you're done with it. But now you can lead us into the more bombastic Xenoblade X theme.
Yes. This is a good, I think, transition because we have one jungle to another jungle. Noctilum is very much a jungle forest than a traditional, like a, deciduous forest. I think it's the best area theme in the game, which is hard because there's a lot of good area themes. I mean, Sylvalum and Oblivia's night themes are also excellent, but Noctilum, this was like one of those knocks your pants off kind of songs that I think everyone, even if they weren't so sure about Salbato or the way the music in general was playing into the game, I think everyone could probably get behind how awesome this track is. It's kind of hard to deny the energy and the, I'm gonna say it, the kick-ass nature of this song. It's really interesting too. It starts off with this sort of weird kind of electronic synth sound at the beginning, and you've got we have a guitar kind of strumming in the background, but that was a really, I think, interesting way to juxtapose the organic nature of you're on this planet and there's a lot of weird wildlife, but also blend in some sort of more sci-fi or electronic elements to it, which, Salbato does tend to do that with his music, but it was still a nice thing to have here. Because, this is a game where you could be running around in giant mechs while you're exploring a huge glowing forest at night fighting giant Pegasus monsters. So, the music should sort of, reflect that crazy Oh, see, there. I swore.
Oh, great. Now you're doing it.
Yes, it wears off, it rubs off on people, so. The crescendo around, I think it's a minute and a half or so into the song, is really, really epic. Bringing in the beat and singing, the vocals in the background, the melody. The track, like all of the area tracks, comprises of the day theme and the night theme. And the night theme is more sedate, a little bit slower paced, but it still kind of carries the same feel as the daytime theme. It's a bit more relaxed, but you can still hear all the different parts. And I like how the main theme is still there. There's still some vocals involved, but it's all just a little bit more low key to sort of match the nighttime atmosphere. I think, when I think about the challenges going into Xenoblade X from the original, I think one of the big challenges was finding a way to have that transition from day to night. It's one of those things that was really awesome about the original Xenoblade, was being able to have a night version, being able to explore at night even. And I think Salbato did a really good job in general with the transitions, with the having a day theme and then also a night theme in general in the game. Noctilum, I think, is one of the better examples of that, just because it still definitely feels like the same track, but it feels like a quieter nighttime theme would.
Yeah. Just kind of going on that, I actually really like the kind of like hush nature of the nighttime part of the of Noctilum's theme. Kind of like you're running through the bushes and under the cover of darkness kind of thing. I don't know. I don't have a good way to describe it. But I mean, there's nothing more bombastic than Xenoblade X's OST, and I'll always describe it as such. But one thing I do like is, I thought, maybe I was just hearing it, but I thought some of that the Noctilum theme kind of borrows a few of the same notes and vocal cues from the Planet Mira song.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yeah, on the soundtrack it's called Z5 Mira. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of confused when I didn't hear it when I got there, but then I just realized it's kind of rearranged a bit. But yeah, the song has a real exciting edge to it. It combines those cool modern instruments with the more traditional ones that you would expect for, woodsy, foresty areas. And I always like to think of what the recording studio might have looked that day. If anyone on the Xenoblade staff is listening in, I doubt it, but hey, why not? Please do away with the battle themes for the normal encounters so we can keep hearing the really, really nice overworld music. Yeah, and actually, when you were talking about day and night themes, I know this is a bit off topic, but one thing I always liked was the most of the songs kind of get quieter at nighttime. But I love how Sylvalum is the one nation where it kind of gets louder at night.
Yes, I love that about that too. The night theme there is amazing. I think the reasoning was because it's a
night place.
It's a night place. It looks kind of drab during the daytime, but that's because everything lights up at night, and it's much more alive looking at night. So it made sense to have the night theme be a bit more energetic. But it's a really good theme. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite area theme. I kind of would, I think, edge a little bit over on Noctilum side, but Sylvalum Night, Oblivion Night, they both give it a run for its money.
Actually, the Argyros theme makes me feel pretty awesome too.
Yes.
Just kind of gets me pumped.
Okay, I have a riddle for you.
Oh, how exciting!
What kind of idiot spends 90 hours in a game and then doesn't finish it?
Me?
I thought you finished it.
I haven't, well, I spoiled myself rotten. I know how it ends, but I haven't beaten it myself.
Oh, shoot.
I feel like that's a game that's almost impossible 100%.
I was trying to just call myself an idiot there, not both of us. So.
Oh.
I remain clean. I am the smartest of them all.
Well, you are the Canadian, so.
Aww.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Noctilum and Sylvalum are both my favorite themes. I don't know if I can really pick between the two, so don't make me.
Yeah.
I won't.
Okay.
I'm making you. Do it.
Okay, well then it's Sylvalum. But this is a close second, okay? I like the like big, like epic feel to it, because I don't think you think of that much when you get a forest theme, because usually forests are all very enclosed. But I like how there's parts of Noctilum that you can get up like on some vista somewhere, or it's well, everything about the game is big and gigantic. So I think the song works because of stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. Both Xenoblades really did well with their forest areas to make it just not so much just trees. They kind of really knew how to diversify the environment up. I mean, half of Noctilum is basically exposed.
Yeah.
It's not under the cover of trees than you'd think.
That area still feels so huge to me. Like they're all huge, but I remember exploring just the southern tip of Noctilum, the place that you go to for the main story, and then going further north for side quests and being like, "Holy crap, there's more!"
If there's one thing I hated about that part is the level scaling there is absolutely terrible. So yeah, they're like between that bottom half and the upper half, there's so many places I kept dying.
Yeah, there are enemies there that will aggro you within a second, and it's like, I want to explore. I have side quests up there. How do I get up there?
That's definitely one thing I'll give the edge to Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii the edge on, is the level scaling is way better.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a bit harder for X going to you.
You know what? That part where you have to cross the bridge or whatever to get to the northern part, I had the same problem. Like, I couldn't figure out a way to get up there without getting killed. So instead, I just jumped off the side somewhere and swam.
Yeah, that's what I had to do too.
I loved escaping from enemies in that game just because some of the weird haphazard stuff that you'll do. Like you'll be jumping off cliffs, jumping into water, or jumping over other monsters, moon jumping over other monsters.
Can you imagine just Elma like scolding you like, this is not really safe. We shouldn't be doing this. And you're looking back at a giant monster who wants to eat your face off. And you're like, I think it's safer than that.
Yeah.
Run away!
I've jumped off a lot of cliffs into the ocean in that game.
I don't know, maybe there's like a weird sadistic part of me. I actually really like that song that plays when you kind of don't get the preemptive strike in the battle. It's just that kind of... Yeah,
I hate that one.
Death bell, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I love it. I think it just kind of reminds me of the game and it makes me happy.
I like the main battle theme, so I always hate having that waste my time at the beginning. And there are so many enemies that will ambush you and you cannot target them until they've ambushed you. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
So, But that is neither here nor there, and we still have one more track to talk about. Mike, your pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, am I right that none of us have played this game?
I have.
Oh, you have?
Okay.
Okay,
I
good.
only got about halfway through because the battle mechanics really, really suck by the end when you're inputting like 20 chain combos and battles take like 10 minutes to beat.
Like a regular random battle?
Yeah.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah. Did you play it?
No, I haven't played either game, but
I've played the original a couple times, but never played Dual Saga. I
Good soundtrack in that one,
I
actually.
keep wanting to play it, but then I always get discouraged by people saying how it's, yeah, and I'm like, but then I remember the first game wasn't really anything super awesome special anyway, so why not? But yeah,
Great music, anyway. Both games from
Yeah.
both games.
yeah, the original Legaia has a really different sounding soundtrack than a lot of RPGs at the time. The battle themes, a lot of pounding drums in the original Legaia, and the composer returns, Michiru Oshima, who. That's why I said you probably know 2/3 of the composers for the soundtrack, because everyone knows Yasunori Mitsuda and Hitoshi Sekimoto, but I don't know if Oshima is as well known. I only know Oshima from Legaia, so yeah.
yeah, probably not as well known, no.
No. But that was a really interesting combination, collaboration, I guess, to have Mitsuda and Sakimoto on one soundtrack. I'm off the top of my head trying to think of another game where they were both present, and I'm not thinking of anything. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but in my limited
Some
experience.
Arc Lad games under Mishima.
Arc the Lad?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are pretty good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that they both worked on either.
Yeah, so that was cool. And Mitsuda's stuff, there's some really good stuff, but also some not so good stuff from Mitsuda. Sakimoto's work, I think, especially this track, to paraphrase from our own review, this is the standout track on the soundtrack. This makes the soundtrack worth a listen to in and of itself. It is a beautiful forest theme. The fluttering guitar, in particular, I think at the beginning, is really pretty. To me, it's evocative of leaves blowing in the wind or sun shining through, a dense forest, things like that. So
A lot of the soundtrack is like that. They're pretty busy tunes on the soundtrack, and it kind of really helps make the environments feel more alive.
Yeah. It's a weird but also good soundtrack. There is some really good stuff, some not so good stuff. I think the combination of the three composers actually works really well in its favor, because they all do really have different styles, and you hear that in their work. Mitsuda is recognizable, Sakimoto is recognizable, and Oshima is recognizable just because of how distinct all three of them are from each other.
Yeah, this one definitely feels like a Sakimoto song.
Yeah.
Like I could hear this in like a tactics game or something.
Yeah. No, and I like that. The build up for the song is is very soothing, but it's no less impactful. Like I said earlier, there's like a lot of busy instrument work in it, and they seem to work very well together. And even when they're kind of playing their own parts individually, it really gives your ear a lot to listen to, and kind of keeps like a real forest where you might have your eyes on the trees making noise, a babbling brook babbling, and just kind of lots of sights and sounds, and it kind of moves your ears around, I guess. There's a lot to hear.
Moves your ears around. Move them ears.
Yeah, the drugs are talking, but that's how I felt with that one. It was just a very good forest song. A bit more traditional, like we've kind of been plucking from less traditional songs, I like to think. But no, this was a really good song.
And I think it's a great way to wrap up the block and our episode. Wrap it up on a high note, I think.
No. We got that low note.
Okay.
Injected a dishonorable mention. And I would love to actually do a podcast on our dishonorable mention songs to make our listeners angry. Yeah, okay, so I'm totally stealing the thunder for this one. I have a dishonorable mention, and it is going from one Xenoblade to another. It is the Machna Forest from Xenoblade for the Chronicles for the Wii. Oh, God, I hate this song. I know some people really like it, but I hate it. It just makes me mad and sad.
Oh. It's not my favorite forest theme, but I think it's okay. What don't you like about it?
It's just such a nice tune. It's so nice. It's so pleasant. It sounds like you're taking a pleasure cruise in some fake forest amusement park scenic route kind of thing. It doesn't really sound too foresty. The flute is just terribly loud, especially at like this 1 minute mark where it just kind of really just destroys my ears. And when you're spending your 10th hour grinding for items to a 2-minute song where one of that minute is a very loud flute, playing some no melody kind of filler theme. I just think a lot of the other songs that we picked on here were much better for different reasons. That said, though, I do like the Frontier Village theme, which is right next door, and it's a lot cuter, and it suits the Frontier Village much more than Machna Forest suits Machna.
Because it's cute and it's full of cute Nopon.
Yeah, and I always love them. Despite how cute they are very business savvy and completely dependable.
Yes. Well, some of them are. I don't know.
Pretty useless. But
this year's legendary Heropon, I don't know.
Ricky's an MVP in that game, in my opinion.
Oh, in the game, yeah, but he's portrayed as very much of a not dependable Nopon when you meet him.
It's kind of like when you have like a really talented person with a terrible personality.
Or bad reputation or
bad
whatnot.
Yeah. He was actually a pretty okay comic relief in my opinion. I was expecting the worst, but I really liked Ricky.
I love Ricky. Anyone who doesn't like Ricky, at least like to play as in the game, you're dead to me. Because Ricky is a lot of fun and he is really useful too.
Apparently it was like a last minute development decision. They were going to give him some of the lowest HP in the game, and then they kind of changed their minds last minute and decided to give him the most.
Yes!
Which I think is a really novel idea for unexpected tiny character.
For the mascot character, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know. I have memories of Choo Choo from Xenogears and how the only thing that was really OP about Choo-Choo was the fact that because she isn't a gear, you don't have to, it's easier to heal her, and her HP is like, you don't have to worry about frames and crap. It's based on her own HP. So I don't know. Otherwise, I never used, I used Choo-Choo when I had to, and then I think I might have used her in the final boss battles when I was trying to save my primary team to actually fight Deus. So, and then I never touched her. Whereas Ricky, I use all the time because Ricky is awesome and very versatile all around, good fighter, and has some really awesome battle ending skits with the other characters. So yeah, Ricky is awesome, and
I'm really happy that dishonorable mention actually led to a very nice sidebar.
a nice, yes. A dishonorable mention, but still a positive note, I think, to wind up the episode. So as always, when we get to this point in the episode, I will go through our spiel. Please rate and review us on iTunes, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your co-workers, tell everybody how much you like listening to awesome RPG music. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, feel free to email us at music@rpgfan.com, or catch up with us on the boards or on Twitter, anywhere where we might be. You can also, of course, chat with our awesome social media staff as well. They love to hear from you. And I guess, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, we have been discussing amongst ourselves about the format of the show and if we want to keep it as long as it's been, or if we want to streamline a little bit. We've discussed, Mike and I have, but I think we're very much interested to hear if there's any feedback from our listeners as to whether or not you want us to keep the same general length of our episodes, maybe shorten it a bit, or if you want it to be longer, although I kind of hope you don't.
These are really hard to meet up for.
Yeah. Basically, we're just trying to get a sense for, how do you guys like the length of the show and how frequent we get it out. Sometimes we've been delayed, and usually that's because real life rears ugly head. We usually try to get it out once a month, but like I said, just trying to get a sense for what the fans want. So that's another thing that you can talk to us about in an email or on the boards. And with that, I believe we have reached the end of our show. And Stephanie, as our guest host, you get to pick an exit track for us. And what did you pick for us?
Pretty sure it's the dishonorable mention.
Oh, that was it?
Oh, okay, no. This gives me a chance to put something else in. God dang it. What was one of the ones that I got rid of in my list? I had like 8. Ooh. Oh, okay, yeah. Super Mario RPG. The forest theme.
Yes. Okay.
I love that one. So let's give it time to shine.
That is an excellent.
Or Chrono Cross. Either of the forest themes. Or the one. Do them both, baby.
You have to pick one.
Dang! Okay, whichever one you like more, Mike. It's all yours.
Oh, pressure, Mike. No pressure.
All right, well, let's go with Mario RPG.
Okay. I like that one. I like Chrono Cross too. No, wait, that came out wrong. I like them both, but I love that one. So, you're going to have to edit the crap out of this, Mike. I'm sorry. Because I don't know on top of my head what it's called.
Is that why Mike is a bit more quiet? Because he knows, the more, more cut-ups?
Yep.
The more he's got to edit?
I think, isn't it Beware the Forest Mushrooms?
Yes. Okay, yes. All right, well, so for myself, for Mike, and for Stephanie, thank you as always for listening. Be sure to check back with us soon. We're going to have more awesome episodes coming right at you, and taking us out is going to be Beware the Forest Mushrooms, originally from Super Mario RPG, but this version is from Memoria, the very best of Yoko Shimomura. perfectly formed butt cheeks. Yeah.
Yeah, he got butt, you know? He had buns to go with that shake.
Uh,
As my dad likes to say.